When you think about it, all the music you've ever listened to was a result of some pioneer who managed to develop a style or technique that became a new normal. Classical music began in Europe, happened at a time without any audio recording available. As a result, all the classical music we know from that time have been preserved because someone developed sheet music notation. Similarly, when jazz was born in America at the beginning of the 20th century, it was helped along in large part thanks to a notation system for writing down jazz chords. But because audio recording equipment was available, this allowed for music business to develop a system for the sale of music in the form of recordings, vinyls, or albums. Pop music, which was jazz initially, surfaced later on in a way allowing for the development of music solo careers, such as Elvis, the Beatles, Frank Sinatra, Michael Jackson. What's important to remember is that the sales is one indicator of how successful a particular music was, but that sales is by no means the only indicator. In fact, if you use innovation or influence as an indicator for tracking successful music, an interesting picture of the musical landscape appears. Although sales is just representing 1% that of other musical genres, hip-hop, rap, pop, rock leading the way, we know from the history of music that there would be no rap without pop, no pop without rock and blues, no blues without jazz, and no jazz without classical. They're all interrelated, inseparable. We also know jazz is a distinctly American tradition of music in a way that classical was a distinctly European, or originating in Germany, Austria, etc. The ability to focus on improvisation as a mode of music is what eventually gave way to the soloist, a guitar soloist, for example, in classic rock. The mode of improvisation also eventually led to the improvisational aspect of the lyrical form of rap, hip-hop, or freestyle. Also, pop and rock groups such as Elvis and Frank Sinatra and Michael Jackson would never have been able to succeed in the way they had were it not for jazz laying down the foundation for pop music. Jazz, a largely African-American form of music, developed its own musical genre within itself. Indie, or independent music, later developed its own musical identity within itself as separate from pop and rock around the turn of the 21st century. Where jazz focused on more musicians' music, indie stressed a form of musical composition that was distinct and free from the restrictions of the mainstream. This cursory musical history is just to remind you the power each music originator has to form his own kind of music, and who knows, it may lead to a new genre. After all, James Brown pioneered funk, Black Sabbath metal, Sex Pistols punk, and the list goes on and on. It might be you that pioneers a new musical style. Thank you.